Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, a fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. We've got so many things to discuss on today's show. We're going to touch on last night's victory over Sheriff in the Europa League, Cristiano Ronaldo back on the score sheet, Garnacho's performance, Maguire being booed. We're also going to discuss David De Gea contract situation. There's still a big decision to be made on that. And of course, towards the end of the show, we've got a roundup of game week 13 in the FPL to run through. So make sure you stick with us for that. Shreyas is joining us today. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing fairly well, Nick. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well myself. Thank you for asking. And we also have Sam, fresh from Old Trafford. Well, not fresh from Old Trafford, but within 24 hours, I'd say. How are you doing, Sam?
Yeah, good win last night. Enjoyed it. It's nice to be back at Old Trafford for I think I've only been the second time this season, so yeah, it's been fun.
Perfect. As always, give us a subscribe. Makes absolutely no sense at all. I'll do that again. As always, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can do that just by a click of a button in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, and that's because of you guys. So thank you very much for that. That also reminds me, because we were hit 700 last night, we wasn't live, so we can't do our usual shot. But I have got some Raki here that Sam kindly bought me. So as it is customary, because we hit 700 subs. Cheers. Thank you very much, guys.
It's good stuff that as well to shop. It's very nice.
It's beautiful. So tasty. So thank you everyone who's supporting the channel constantly. We see all your comments, all the likes, and sharing it. So yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. Let's start off with the victory then. 3-0 over Sheriff in the Europa League, lads. As I said just then, Sam, you was actually at the game. Yep. Great turnout again from the crowd. Just describe to me what the atmosphere was like. Was you impressed with the performance? And finally, your girlfriend actually gets to see a win, Sam.
Yeah, no, it was good. I didn't expect it to be that full. It seemed like nearly. Yeah, I don't think it was full capacity, but it was near enough. It was like 73,000 or something, so it wasn't far off, which shocked me for a Sheriff game. Yeah, crowd was up for it. There was a couple of Moldovan supporters sat like 3 rows away from me, and they were screaming anytime they got forward, which was quite funny. Girlfriend finally got to see a Man United win, finally got to see a goal at our end, because she'd not seen a goal yet either. So yeah, fun to see. We'll get on to players who were getting reactions and stuff later. But yeah, it was interesting to see like how Ronaldo got his reception and other players as well. So, but yeah, it was a fun game to watch. It was definitely some things I want to pick out that were good.
Absolutely. Shreyas, Cristiano Ronaldo back in the team last night, back on the score sheet, as if there was any doubt from yourself. Did he prove to you last night he still has something to offer going forward in the season? And was you happy with his performance overall?
I think overall his link-up play looked well. I think his passing was better. And overall, I think he looked much more involved in the game for a change. And except that, I think the thing with Ronaldo is definitely going to be that if we are going to, generate the chances for him, he is going to deliver for us. And he showed that once again yesterday, that if we generate chances for him, he is going to score us some goals. And in that sort of a way, he does offer us something different, because Rashford doesn't have that eye. Rashford doesn't have that, I would say, clinical edge right now in his game, if I have to compare it to Ronaldo's, because with Ronaldo, once again, you can, actually bank on him to finish off even half a chance. And with Rashford, the thing is, he's not an out and out striker. He is a left winger, and technically he is being played out of position. So even if he is scoring goals, it just means that he's playing out of position, but he's still doing a good job. With Ronaldo, the situation is going to be that he is an out and out striker. He's one of the best players in the game. He's been, I would say, by far one of the most experienced and most successful players in the game as well. So he does offer us that kind of, I would say, maturity. And I think in front of goal, you wouldn't want to have someone else than Ronaldo, because, and if we had a much more stable lineup, having someone like Ronaldo around would do us a lot of favors, because he still brings us something different to what Rashford or even Martial could bring to the table.
Yeah, it's all about man management now, isn't it, with Cristiano? What kind of games he's going to play him in. Can't play him really consecutively 3 times a week, in my personal opinion. But I think Ten Hag's been managing him well so far, so I completely trust him with that process. Another player who, is managed well so far as well is Alejandro Garnacho, who, of course, got his full debut last night, Sam. I know, obviously, well, it might not be known by absolutely everyone, but by this point, it should be. You're obviously a massive fan of Garnacho. How excited was you when you heard his name called out in the starting lineup last night, and how impressed was you with his performance?
Yeah, I think I was on the way to the game and Adam put in a group chat that Garnacho was going to start. Like, the rumours were Garnacho was going to start, and I was just like, this can't be right. Definitely got this wrong. And then, yeah, I was on the walk up and I saw, like, you on the stream, and yeah, it was correct. So, yeah, it was fascinating to see what was going to happen because he was on the opposite side to me at my end in the first half, but then he was on my side the second half, so it was really interesting to see. What it reminded me of is a bit before your time, Nick, because obviously you were born in 95, but when like Ryan Giggs broke into the team when he was like 17, 18, he used to make these like darting runs, would dribble at players, make really good sort of spaces and run past players and stuff like that. That's what it reminded me of, like his full debut was that kind of, he's doing what Sancho should be doing right now. He's running at players, he's taking players on, he's having a bit of a dribble, he's a bit of skill trying to cut in and trying to get a shot away or trying to bulldoze his way through players. He's doing what Sancho should be doing right now. And yeah, really impressive performance, super bright the entire evening. Would have liked to have got a goal, but you can't have everything. I think he now should be a regular feature in the squad in terms of like if we're up 2-0 or 1-0 in a game, bring him on for 10-15 minutes. The old Donny van der Beek situation. You remember Donny used Donny used to get 10-15 minutes every game. That's what we should be doing. Garnacho, just giving him minutes, seeing what he can do. He brought us back to that left hand side, which when Rashford's not there or Sancho is there, we miss that on that left hand side. It's like severely missing. So yeah, I was really impressed with his performance, and I hope he gets more and more minutes as time goes on because, like you said, I'm a big fan of his. I think he could be really, really special. And the rumours are that we're offering him a new deal, which would be great, tie him down for the next couple of years because I think he could be something special. Obviously, we had a guy who won't be mentioned who I thought was going to be the next star. But obviously, he's ruined his career, so he's done. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Garnacho can do under Ten Hag because I think he could develop into a serious player.
Shreyas, I want to bring yourself in on this. Ten Hag said in a press conference he had in relation to Garnacho that at the start of the season his attitude wasn't quite right. I think he was turning up late for training or he missed it a couple of times and Ten Hag just completely cut him and was like, look, you're going to have to raise your standards. He's obviously got back to this point now where he's chomping at the bit to get his opportunity. He got it and performed relatively well, in my personal opinion. Judging off what you saw last night, how would you manage him now in terms of game time?
I think considering the way he's made it into the first team, he has earned his spot. He's definitely shown the manager something in training. That's one of the big reasons why he got picked in the first place. And yeah, I think what he is that sort of a player which who could be brought on, who could be used when we are struggling or we don't really we just want someone to come off the bench and show us a little bit of spark, show us some life on the pitch, get some energy into the front three. And that's why I think like the game against Newcastle, I think that would have been a good opportunity for someone like him to come on because those are the sort of games wherein you could actually throw these guys on and you know if they are able to impact the game in any sort of a way, it does their confidence a lot of favors as well. With Garnacho, I think there's definitely a lot of potential there. I think he had a really, really impressive outing last night, and I think slowly and steadily, once he gets 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you never know. He might be in, a starter for us by the end of the season. Because he has got that kind of a talent, and Ten Hag knows how to develop these young talents. He's done it throughout his career at Ajax, and now I think at Manchester United he's got a lot of talent to work with, especially which is coming through our youth setup, and it is good talent as well. Because if we are able to actually carve out Alejandro Garnacho into a complete player, into I would say he's right now very very raw. He's right now really really young. So there still needs to be a lot of work done. But I think for that sort of development, I think Ten Hag is pretty much the best manager out there at the moment. And if he gets those sort of opportunities constantly, like we've got the West Ham game coming up as well. We are gonna have games against the bottom half, teams like Nottingham, teams like I would say Bournemouth, teams like that. You could actually make use of players like Garnacho, because those are the sort of games wherein that is the sort of game where they elevate their level from just being picked in certain games to being picked throughout the season.
Mm, absolutely. I think he's really useful against a low block because
Yeah,
Ten
yeah,
Hag described him as like this tempo dribbler. He knows when to set the pace. He knows when to beat a man. And he had their right back and other defenders on toast yesterday. Obviously, it's only Sheriff, but Sheriff is still a very well organised team. They have decent high level players in there, which is the reason why they're in the Europa League. And he looked decent, but we still need to see him against Premier League opposition, which is obviously a
Arguably,
different kind of threat.
arguably,
Pardon?
he's probably our second best option on the left hand side at the minute because Sancho's out of form. Elanga, I like the kid a lot, I really do, but I just don't think he offers anything at the end. Like I said, good athlete, makes himself available, works hard, but his end product is lacking. Rashford's the only one on that left hand side who's providing anything at the minute, and he's mostly played for the middle, like the last few games. So arguably, Garnacho is your best option in the minute on that left hand side because you got Anthony, who's pretty much nailed down that right hand side at this point. He's absolutely killing it there. I'm sure we'll get onto him later. So arguably, Garnacho is your best left hand side option if you want to change things up at this point, which is exciting to see. But yeah, a lot of pressure on the kid. I hoping his standards don't slip again. I hoping he doesn't think he's made it and starts turning up late again because Ten Hag will cut his ass so quick. And
he has to be very strict with that, yeah.
It's really sad when you see such talented players and they just fuck it up for themselves with stupid behaviours. Like I remember there's a kid who used to play for us called Ravel Morrison. I don't know if anybody remembers him. Huge talent, so much talent in that guy. He was unbelievable. I think he was, somebody labelled said he was the best out of the youth class, and that included, I think Pogba was in his youth class in
Lingard as well.
Lingard, and just behaviour outside of the club and hanging out with the wrong people, and he kind of just fucked his career. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Garnacho. I'm hoping Ten Hag keeps him on the straight and narrow, and he gets game times and develops into a world class player because I know he looks up to Ronaldo. I put a photo up today of him and Ronaldo. I'm hoping he can aim to reach for those heights. He may not get there, but you might as well shoot for the stars and land on the moon, aren't you? If you're gonna go for Manchester United. So it's exciting to see, and I hope more and more youth players get opportunities as the season goes on. It'd be nice to see.
I think judging from past players, like young players who look like stars coming through, the best way to manage them, I believe, is from a psychological kind of level where you give them full 90 minutes and then you make them work to get into the starting 11. Because if you just start him against West Ham and then start him again, you lose that little bit of bite and hunger to get into the team. You have to kind of just drip feed them and slowly give them 10, 15 minutes so they're chomping at the bit to get on the pitch. And then you get the top level out of them. Then that's how I think Ten Hag's going to manage it. I really don't expect him to start against West Ham. I'd be super surprised if he does. But look, he's performing well. And let's see how he progresses this season. Another thing I wanted to touch on was Harry Maguire being booed. I'm not sure if you heard much of it in the stadium, Sam, but I could certainly hear it through the TV. What did you make of that?
It's tricky because we've taken the piss out of Harry Maguire quite a lot, and we've said quite a lot on this channel about how he hasn't been at his best because whether it was through failed confidence in his own mindset because he said some stuff on interviews where you kind of like scratching your head like, really? And then his performances have been like abysmal. I've never seen such a string of bad performances in a row from a Manchester United defender, never mind a captain. So yeah, we've said a lot. I think I would personally never boo a player for Manchester United. I would never boo a player. I would never go to the ground and boo a player because you get behind the team. Because if you boo one player, you're kind of booing everybody else. You get behind the team. Obviously, if they've done something absolutely heinous outside of the club, then it's another story. But in terms of on-pitch performances, you don't boo individual players, in my opinion. So yeah, it was quite a shock to hear it. It's not like when he was warming up down the sidelines and he was running up and down, he went to Stretford End. The whole Stretford End applauded him, and he acknowledged it, waved at him, and like thanked them for it. So I thought, oh, he's gonna get one reception, and then obviously he came on, he got booed. I don't think that was the hardcore Manchester United fans. I don't think that was the Stretford End. I think that was a lot of sort of maybe casual or tourist fans, maybe. Not sure.
Yeah.
But then when his 45 minutes I thought it was solid. Didn't put a foot wrong. Had some good interceptions. Obviously it's just Sheriff, so let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But he was getting applauded when he was doing the right things. He came forward, made some good sort of choices. Didn't make any mistakes. So I think he's all right. He's done decently enough in that half to sort of warrant another opportunity in the team. Whether that's a start or not, I don't know. Like I said, I don't believe in booing. If you guys in the chat and you go to games, you want to boo, that's up to you. But my personal opinion is you shouldn't boo individual players. I actually thought Ronaldo got booed when his name got read out, and I'm not sure if that was Sue. Everybody shouted Sue.
Yeah,
Sue's all it was very weird, so I wasn't sure like that. But there was a funny moment. Every time Maguire got the ball and he crossed the halfway line, there was a lot of shouting shoot, which was fucking hilarious. Yeah, every time he got the ball and he got like within 20 yards of the box, everyone's going shoot, which was quite funny. But yeah, apart from when he came on and he got booed, the rest of the time he got a really good reception. Warming up, he got a good reception when he was on the ball and did the right things. He got a good reception. But yeah, maybe there's like a pocket of fans who just sort of didn't sort of take a liking to him coming on. But it's what it is, isn't it?
Happened for England, didn't it, as well? Before he even kicked the ball, he was like booing him, and I mean, Shreyas, I don't know what these fans are hoping to achieve by booing a player who actually played relatively well. It wasn't as if he was playing shit or anything. He looked pretty solid for. I know it was Sheriff, as Sam said, but for 45 minutes, his cameo was decent. What was your first initial thoughts when you heard the crowd booing Maguire?
I think till the time the match is not up, I think till the time at least the team is playing, you should never boo a player because, of course, last night was Sheriff. We were in a much more comfortable position. But just imagine if it was, a side like a Liverpool or a City and we were trailing 2-1 or we were trailing like a 2-0 and we wanted, to change things about. Probably a team might be going in for the win. And then if the crowd starts booing, it does affect the momentum of a team a lot. It does put the morale down as well. And in key moments, I think sometimes the crowd as well are able to motivate players to do much better, even if they are having a bad game. So I think, of course, criticism should be there. I think for certain players, criticism definitely should be there. I think they also need to, take it in a positive way, take it in a constructive way, and try and work hard and prove themselves on the pitch and earn the respect of the fans back. But I think till the time that they're playing on the pitch, till the time the timer doesn't go, I think there's there's not going to be any gain from actually booing a player.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I remember Marcus Rashford last season when I was at the West Ham game when he came on. It might have been a different game, I'm not sure. But he was getting booed. And I don't like, you want to back your players. If you really genuinely want them to succeed and perform well, you back them. Yes, you can criticise them when they're not playing well, and we did that all last season with the likes of Rashford and Maguire. Yeah. But in this kind of when we're under this new momentum, under a new manager now, when things are going well, just keep the positivity, man. You don't need to be booing him for no reason whatsoever. Yes, he's performed shit. Yes, he's the club captain is supposed to have high standards, but that's all last season. Just keep this momentum now and keep the positivity. That would be my advice anyway. I want to give a quick few shout outs to some players last night. Diego Dallo, of course, getting his goal from a set piece, fully deserved. He started all 20 games, I think I saw before, under Ten Hag. Yeah. Seriously needs a rest. His lack of depth in that position, and we know what happens when Wan-Bissaka comes into the team. So I think Dallo's been...
Do you know what? When he got substituted, Malacia went to the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And Shaw came on, so that was quite interesting. So that might be an option if Malacia can do a decent job at right back and Dallo needs a rest. That might be a good option because it seems like Aaron Wan-Bissaka is just not going to play under Ten Hag. Like, it just seems like because tonight would have been an opportunity. What if you're going to take Dalot off? Tonight would have been the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it. He'd rather move Bolasie to the right hand side. So it pretty much says to me that Wan-Bissaka is just not.
If you can't get a cameo against Sheriff,
yeah,
when you're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, whatever, you're done, mate. Your career is done, honestly.
Yeah.
A couple other ones. Luke Shaw, Rashford came on. Great header from Marcus Rashford,
good
the
cross.
striker.
Good cross from Shaw as well.
Yeah.
Very good cross.
Yeah.
They linked up very well. Them two do have a good link up, in fairness. And I
Yeah.
love Luke Shaw in terms of his ball progression. When he gets on the pitch, as soon as he get it, it's just power straight up, like no messing about. And that's what I'm liking from him at the minute. He's looking really good, and he'll want to keep that momentum going into the World Cup. So a lot of healthy competition in the squad at the minute. And again, that always breeds success. It breeds competition. You know, it's healthy for the players.
Can I make a mention as well? I thought Lindelof was excellent last night.
Yeah.
I thought he was really, really good. I thought he cleared up really well. His ball progression was really good. His passing was fantastic. Did everything he was asked of him. He didn't really get challenged like harshly at any point, but he did what he had to do really well. Didn't make a fuss. I thought he was excellent, especially from where I was sat, because when they were attacking the Stratford end, I was a defensive end, so I was watching him the whole second half. And I thought he was really, really good. I thought he did really well. So he deserves to start on against West Ham. But I think it might end up being Maguire for the height, which worries me, to be honest. But I think Lindelof deserves to start on Sunday, because I thought he played really well.
Yeah, he's been like quietly going about his business, hasn't he, Lindelof? He's not had a lot of media attention, I'd say, on him. Even last season when him and Varane were the team, all of us were in agreement and saying them two should be the starting centre backs, because they're the ones who are playing the best together. So I'm confident with Lindelof, but against West Ham, when I look at, obviously we're going to do the preview for the game tomorrow, but when you look at Antonio and Scamacca and these kind of guys, very physical players, I do slightly worry about him, because we know Lindelof has faults, but so far so good. So you can only go off what you've seen. I want to talk about the goalkeeper situation, lads. The David De Gea contract situation, more specifically. And the Athletic have reported that United are currently scouting 2 goalkeepers in depth. Unai Simon of Athletic Bilbao is one of the names that have been mentioned, and Diego Costa, who currently plays for Porto. Not Diego Costa, the shithouse who plays up top.
Diogo Costa.
Yeah. Diogo Costa, apologies, who currently plays for Porto and is Portugal's number 1 as well, is another player we're looking at. United still have a massive decision whether or not to give De Gea another contract. Apparently, he's open to taking a wage cut. He's happy in Manchester with his family, and he wants to continue as United's number 1. Originally, when he signed his last contract, he was in a much stronger position than he is now, because there was a few keepers when he actually signed it. I think Kepa went to Chelsea for like 70 million, 80 million, and there was a few other deals that kind of hyped up these wages and big fees, and he was kind of in a strong position anyway, because we really wanted to keep him.
He was also like 2-time player of the year at that point as well, wasn't he, for us? So arguably our best
so he had
player.
He had a strong stance in terms of what he should be earning and what his worth was, hence why we ended up making the highest paid goalkeeper on the planet. Times have changed slightly. Football's changing every day. The question mark still hangs in the balance about his overall game and how he fits in a Ten Hag system. And Shreyas, I know David De Gea has a special place in your heart, so I'm going to try and get the most honest answer I can. Do you think David De Gea can be the future goalkeeper under Erik Ten Hag? And if yeah, why?
Yes, and I have 2 reasons for it. One, I think the age he's currently at, I don't think that's the kind of age where, I think this is the prime age for a goalkeeper. I would actually say this is the prime age for a goalkeeper. So that's one reason. And the second reason is that his overall game has definitely improved, because if you compare it with last season, De Gea's distribution has looked much, much better in games like against Tottenham. He looked really, really good in games against Everton. He's looked like the kind of goalkeeper who is able to command his half. He's able to clear the ball quite well. And his long and short passing distribution has looked much, much better as well. So he's definitely adapting. He's definitely getting better in those aspects. And I think with time, he's only going to get better, because we've seen how certain players under Ten Hag, they're still adapting, they're still learning, but their overall game is getting better. And De Gea, I think, as a goalkeeper, and as a player, he's very talented. I think there is still room for him to actually develop his game. And under the right manager, which we are seeing now, he's is able to develop his game quite better. Because under Oli, he never really had to care about distribution. It was never a sort of game or a style that we played, which actually uh, wanted a sweeper or a distributive keeper, because that's not the kind of football we played. And for quite a lot of time, I would say the past 5 to 6 years, we haven't really had the need of having a keeper which fits that sort of a profile. Now that we do need that sort of a profile in our team, I think he is getting better. I think it is still going to take some time for him to get consistent with it, but of course there are some positive signs. We can see other players like Delo as well getting better and better every week. We can see Bruno getting back to his former self slowly and steadily, and I think the hair is on a similar pattern. And in a way, if the Gea is able to fulfill that role, I think we save ourselves a lot of cash. Because if we go in for like a Unai Simon or a Diogo Costa, it is gonna cost us big bucks. So, and already we are in a very difficult position when it comes to chasing players. So if the Gea is able to fulfill that role, we've actually got a keeper for the next 3 to 4 seasons.
The issue with me is though, Shreyas, he's not doing it on a consistent basis. He's
Yeah,
having games where I see him and he performs really well, and he's
yeah,
like, that's the kind of keeper that we need. And then his other games, I can't remember specific ones. I really wish I can, but we've spoken about it, Sam, before
yeah.
on straight after a game where it's like that's the old De Gea. So do them inconsistencies not worry you, Shreyas, going forward?
They definitely do, but I think every player, right? I think even with Bruno, he's not consistent right now. We've seen games where he's looked like his former self. We've seen games where he's looked much more comfortable on the ball, but it is still under process that he's gonna get consistent, and he's gonna show us what he actually showed us when we just signed him. And I think with De Gea and almost every other player in the world, I would say, when a new manager comes in, when they have to develop certain parts of their play, it does take time for them to get consistent with it. And I think having someone like a Varane and Martinez in front of him actually helps him out a lot, because
Yeah.
they are very very good with the ball at their feet. They've got really really good passing ability, and
Casemiro as
they're able
well.
to absorb pressure quite well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think having that sort of a defense really helps him out. The inconsistency, I think, with every player when they have to develop their game, especially at the age he's in, it is going to take some time. I think by the time Christmas kicks in, we'll have a much better picture whether he can actually do the job for us or not. But from what I'm seeing right now, I do see that he can do the job for us. He's done it in some really, really nervy games for us as well, where he's actually commanded his box really, really well. So I do see him actually progressing, because I think De Gea as a player, he's really fantastic. He's a good professional, and he's been a loyal servant for the club for so many years now. So yeah, I think by Christmas we'll actually have a clear yes or a no whether he's the guy for the job or not. Because if he is, then it actually saves us a lot of time and money.
I mean, that's a fair point, Sam. One of the reasons David De Gea was actually signed from Atletico Madrid was because of his ability with his feet, believe it or not, when we signed him 14 years ago. That's one of the things that the scouts picked up on, and we've heard before from his coaches that he can play with his feet. He is really good. We've seen glimpses. He's obviously a wonderful shot stopper, but are you fully convinced he can adapt to this system, and how much of a priority, sorry, is this position for you?
It's not my first priority or my second, to be honest with you. I think striker and a right back would be my priority. This sort of positions right now, and then maybe a creative midfield and a goalkeeper are on a par. I think he's got this season anyway, because I don't think we buy a goalkeeper in January. So he's got this season. He's got this season to basically show improvement and show that he can adapt and play the way that Ten Hag wants to play. So obviously Ten Hag eventually wants to go to how he normally plays, where he plays out the back. He tried that against Brentford and Brighton, and it disastrously went wrong, like completely disastrously. Yeah. So he had to switch his game up, and we ended up becoming more counter-attacking team. That's how we beat Liverpool. That's how we beat Arsenal. But now we're starting to see him with his possession game and playing with the ball, having control of the ball. I think we had, what was it, like 75%, 78% of possession against Sheriff. I think we had quite a lot of possession against Chelsea in the first half as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
and Tottenham.
And Tottenham as well, especially, yeah. So I think he's trying to slowly move towards that thing, and as he gets his players in and he gets the transfers he wants, he's going to become more apparent. If any manager can adapt his game and improve De Gea and get him to the point where he plays the way that Ten Hag wants to play, it's going to be Ten Hag. I don't think Ollie could adapt his game. I don't think Jose could. So if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be Ten Hag. And I think he has this season basically to prove himself, because we're not buying anybody in January, and then the summertime is when we're going to spend. And if we're going to buy a goalkeeper, it's going to be summertime. But like you said, Laurie Whitwell said, we're looking at Diogo Costa, we're looking at the guy from Atletico Bilbao. So we're plan B, which is good, which is for United, doesn't normally happen. Normally we just put all our eggs in one basket, and if it fucks, we just go, oh well, and just carry on, and we don't do any other plan B. So it's good that we're making a plan in case Ten Hag goes, now I don't want him, I want to transition to something else. So it's not a priority position at the moment for me, and I'm going to give him, I give him the season because he's going to get it anyway, to see if he can, because like you said, we've seen glimpses of it. We've seen glimpses of distribution. We've seen glimpses of him being able to play with his feet. Like you said, he's got to be consistent with it. Same with Bruno, he's got to be consistent. If we can get consistency out of these players, I don't have a problem with them staying and playing beyond what I thought they would be here for. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what Ten Hag can do with him. I'm happy to give him the opportunity.
I'm torn with this goalkeeper situation. I'm not sure, because there's going to have to be a big decision made near January, because when it gets to the summer, I think the contract's up, or he's got 18 months. He might have 6 months left on it or something. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. So a decision needs to be made. If you're going to sign him, it's going to be another 3-4 years. He is willing to take a pay cut, so that's nice to hear, I suppose. Obviously, it's not money in our pockets, but to the fact that he's on 375k a month, if you was to give a player a new contract, you obviously bump the wages up, don't you? But with the wages that he's on currently, he's happy to take a pay cut. So we'll see what happens with that. I guess you guys are kind of saying trust the process at the minute. You're trusting the coach.
We're in a way better position. Like you said, he was in a position of strength when he signed that contract. At this point, there's so many goalkeepers you could go get, and it would cost you less than him and cost you half his wages. You got Jose Sa.
Then does that take away from the striker and the right back, let's say, for example? Because if we did go get a goalkeeper,
I don't think a goalkeeper would cost that much. I don't think it would. We're not going to do a Kepa where we spend, what did it cost, like 70 million? Is that what he paid for him? We're not going to spend that much.
Don't underestimate us in the transfer market.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
End of August. We need a keeper.
Goalkeeper is not traditionally a superstar signing. Like, it doesn't normally push the price up. Like, if you buy a striker, the price always starts going up because people start speaking stats and all this sort of stuff. Goalkeeper is not traditionally a sexy position, is it? It's a very sort of mundane position. So I think we could get a goalkeeper for a decent price. Obviously, we're going to overpay because it's Manchester United, and that there's always a United tax on top of whatever. So say Diogo Costa is worth 25 million for argument's sake, we're probably going to have to end up paying 35 or 40 or something like that. So I think, and there's a lot of options. You got Jose Sa, you got Sanchez from Brighton, you got Diogo Costa, you got Simeon from Atletico. So
also, a lot of them Spanish and Portuguese.
There you go. Well. So you got options. There's a lot of options you can go for. And at worst comes to worst, I know you wouldn't agree with this, Nick, but we've got Dean Henderson still. He's still there. He's on loan. He's not sold. Ooh. I wouldn't bring him back personally, and I know you feel the same way, but we could do a lot worse than, if you want to let De Gea go, you're doing a lot worse than bring Dean Henderson back. So we've got options. There's options.
Yeah, on my personal opinion, I think Dean Henderson's a passionate merchant, but we'll move on from Dean Henderson. I think it's really interesting to see who will be our starting number one next season. I have a feeling personally it might not be the obvious one. But we'll see how David De Gea adapts this season, and see how he performs. I'm sure Shreyas is hoping that he does stick with us, as it's one of his favourite players.
I think Shreyas might have a breakdown if Palestri and De Gea go in next summer.
Yeah.
He might
No,
lose
you
his
can't,
shit.
you can't double whammy him like that. It's got to be one or the other. Yeah, from number ones on the pitch to number one in the table, let's take a look at the current FPL table, guys. Let's see who sits top of the league after game week 13. So Mihoun is up to number one with 75 points this weekend. Of course, Haaland, De Bruyne, Mitrovic, Andreas Pereira, who's on 4 assists, I think, in the Premier League. He's third. Yeah, third in assists. At the minute in the Prem, who would have thought it? He's still playing in pre-season, so he had Andreas in his team.
Nobody's told him, have they? Nobody's told him.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, fair play to Fulham. Astute signing. It's looking like for them at the minute for 10 million.
Yeah.
And as well, he had the clean sheet with the Leicester goalkeeper Ward in net, who have started to turn up a little bit of form now in a minute. Just one thing I want to ask you, lads. Haaland injured in the Dortmund game is a doubt for the weekend. Any chance he'll get transferred, do you think, by many players this weekend? Or might they stick with him?
Not unless Pep announces it's a long-term injury, like he's torn his ACL or something. I think a lot of people will just take the hit this week and just either sub him out for one of the people they've got on the bench, or just take the hit. Because if he's only out for like a week or two, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure if he does miss a game, he'll still end up with 30 plus, 40 plus goals, regardless anyway, because he is an absolute machine at the minute. What do you think, Shreyas? Is he worth transferring out, or if you've got I don't know if you've got Haaland in your team or not, but would you keep him in if you did have him?
I mean, the way I am progressing and the goal that I have, if he is not playing, I would definitely have him in my team because I'm still having my eye out for that last position. It is still a very, very big competitive league, I would say, even for coming in last. So I'm going to work hard, and especially if there are injured players, it does help my cause.
Yeah. Sounds like Maguire in an interview, doesn't it? Sounds like Harry Maguire in an interview. Okay, the rest of the top four is so Chef Curry is up to second, but only an average 55 points this week for him. Maddison, Pereira again, and Haaland bringing home the bread. Don Pablo Escobar is down from third place with a below average of 50 points. Mikolenko for Everton grabbing him 10 points with a clean sheet and an assist. And then we have the famous Kuyati kid with 45 points in. I love that name. 45 points in fourth. Only Haaland and Pereira playing any significance in their team. So, yeah, sticking with the top four, fellas. Do you think the next 4 fixtures we have before the World Cup could be a real opportunity to cement a place in there until, obviously, we return against Nottingham Forest on Boxing Day?
Yeah, this is the games we have to win now, isn't it? Like, we didn't expect to get that many points. What have we played? 9 of the top 11? Is it in the last few games? So
yeah,
and we only got beat by City. Everything else we got a point or we've got to win. So I think that's a really good run of form. And then these are the teams you have to beat. So teams like West Ham, who are not in fantastic form, but they always seem to turn up at United for some reason. Every single time, it always happens.
Yeah.
Villa, who under a new manager.
Unai Emery, good evening.
And he likes to stick it to United as well, doesn't he? He's done that a few times. So
remember that in Villarreal, don't we, Sam?
Yeah, we do.
The final.
Yeah.
So that could be tricky as well. And then who else? Is it Fulham?
Yeah, I think so.
Fulham. Mitrovic. He's been in goal scoring form, so that could be tricky. And then Andreas Pereira returning. So that could be interesting. Ooh. If he scores he's gonna score a worldie, isn't he? I can fucking see.
I'm gonna say, if he does, remember that clip we did in pre-season when we was talking about him being a pre-season Perlo and he's shit and all this? I have a feeling that might get brought back up if he does score a worlder.
Yeah,
so
that could happen. But these are the games we need to win if we want to have any ambition for top 4. And I don't think we'll finish in top 4, but if we want to have any ambition, these are the games you need to win. Because nobody's expected us to beat Liverpool. Nobody expected us to beat Arsenal. Nobody expected us to beat Tottenham the way we did. So this is the games you need to win. The games you expected to win, or the games that you expected to at least show up. These are the games you need. So hopefully we played it as well as we have done the last couple of weeks.
Not a bad game to come back to though, is it, Shreyas? Nottingham Forest, Boxing Day. bottom of the league.
Yeah, I think also once again a team I would say which is similar to Sheriff in the way they actually play. And yeah, they play a low block. Right now, we've been doing much better against teams that play a low block because rewind it to last season when we actually come used to come up against team that play a low block, we used to struggle a lot in breaking them down and actually scoring goals. But right now we look like a team which can handle low block, create chances and score goals comfortably, get those 3 points. And yeah, like Sam said as well, these are the kind of games that are actually gonna help us cement our place in the top 4 or the top 5. And if we don't slip up, I think we could be in a very comfortable position in the table. Once again, we do need to keep an eye and check on the injuries that might happen or might not happen to us during that course, because the way Varane got injured, I think it was really bad timing, because once again I think we recovered pretty well after the City game, and it looked like players were getting back into their own. Players look much more comfortable, and Varane was playing absolutely amazing. So yeah, I think we do need to keep an eye out for that. But realistically, I do see United slipping up in at least one of those fixtures. I don't think that we are going to be able to be consistent enough to get 3 points in every single one of those games. I think every single United fan expects us to at least slip up in one game at least.
Yeah, to be fair, in fairness, in the past 10 games, I think we've only lost one and drew
Yeah.
one or drew two,
Yeah.
something like that. So, considering the teams that we played, we've done really well to get out
Yeah.
of that. And I hope we can continue the momentum against these, you would class as lower-sided teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we do against that, because notoriously, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we always beat the big teams on the counter-attack, and then we'd struggle against the low-block teams like Burnley and these kind of teams. So, yeah, I trust Ten Hag going into this run of fixtures, and I do think we will be top 4 by the time the World Cup comes. Let's see what happens. I would say let's dive into the bit that everyone's waiting for, the lads from the channel, how they're getting on. But let's be honest, it's the bit that Sam's waiting for. So I'll just let you take the floor with this, Sam.
Yes.
I'm not going to say any more on it. Yeah, be my guest.
I'm still waiting. Nobody's even trying. Like it's what are we on game week? We're on game week 14 now. We game week 12. What are we on? What game week is it on? Let me check. Let me have a look.
It doesn't matter.
13,
Game week 13.
13.
Game week 13, and I'm waiting for competition, and nobody's even trying. Like, who's below me?
I mean, you can let the viewers know where you are currently and your points if you want, or you can just brag.
I'm 12th, and I'm on 740 points. I got 66 points in the last week. So I'm like, how many points am I off the top? So I'm on 42 points off the top.
You're not far at all.
So I'm not
Yeah,
far.
you're getting there.
I'm crawling.
2 more
I'm
weeks.
getting there. So yeah, it's not far away. So I'm trying to just make my way up there bit by bit. And who's the next person below me? Let's have a look. It's Nick on 707. So long way to go, Nick. Long way to go.
You said a long way to go, but you're only 40 points off top 4. I'm 40 points, 30 points off you. So
yeah. I don't know what's happened to Severe. He's fallen off the pace completely. He's just absolutely collapsed.
We're gonna get into that. Don't worry about that.
But let's have a look who got me points in the last week. So obviously Haaland, 26 points, big points. Bernardo Silva with 9 points, got me some decent amount of points. And then nobody else really got me a lot of points. Like there's some 2s from Odegaard, 2 from Bruno Guimaraes.
What about your bench?
2 from Trippier,
Anyone?
2 from Neves, 1 from Dunk. Harry Kane got me 8 because he scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mitrovic got me 6 because he got a goal. Eriksen with 3. So yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad points pick up. But yeah, again, Haaland's just... If you've not got Haaland in your team, you're going to struggle because he's just absolutely...
Can I make a suggestion for your team, Sam?
Go on.
Do you know the philosophy that you carry with Liverpool players that you refuse
Yes.
to have them in your team?
Yeah.
Can you carry the same philosophy with City players as well?
No, I don't hate City. I don't hate City, so... City...
Just so you can't have Haaland or De Bruyne or Bernardo.
City could win 20 league titles and they still not touch us, did they? So I don't hate City. I hate Liverpool. I fucking hate Liverpool. So...
Oh, I can ride with that.
My refusal to play any sort of Liverpool player in my team will stand firm until the end of the season. It's not happening,
I like it.
so
I like it.
never
He's a
happened.
man of his word.
Yep.
Much like our manager, Erik Ten Hag. We actually had similar points, Sam. I think I had 73 points this week. I'm up to 35th. Kane, Trossard with a goal against City. Sorry, Anthony Gordon as well scoring for me, bringing home the bacon for me. And I've got some tough decisions to make on the defensive players and the goalkeepers because my full back line didn't keep a clean sheet over the weekend, so that's something I'm going to take a look at. Sevilla is down to 57th in the table. The usual Kane and Haaland scoring in points for this week. No midfielders or defenders grabbing in points, unfortunately, so he does slide down a few spots. Yeah, you're going to have to put together a good run of a few weeks.
Up your game, come on.
Yeah. Next up from the channel, we have Daniel Raj with Dan United. Got 65 points, climbing the table. He did have Haaland as captain, so he actually put Haaland as his captain this week.
He actually did
which
it this time,
about.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He also had Dean Henderson as well, who grabbed him 11 points. Impressive display for Nottingham Forest. I was going to touch on Dean Henderson, but we've already kind of spoke about that, so I'll skip past that bit. Adam is down to 116th with a measly 27 points. That's a third of what we got. 27 points.
Fucking hell.
I mean, he deserves fucking donkey of the week for that alone.
Disgraceful.
No one grabbing in points aside from appearances, so let's move on from Adam. Into a slightly more positive note, Shreyas, where are you at in the table? How many points have you got this week? Have you achieved your goal yet of finishing bottom or trying to get donkey of the week? Where's your head at? Talk to me.
Trying to get donkey of the week, but somehow I just end up climbing up the ranks. I don't know how. I actually try and change my team about, but somehow I do climb. I don't know. I ended up getting 55 points this week, up to 134th from 138. So every single week I'm climbing almost 4 to 5 ranks, which is a disgrace, I would say. And yeah, I'm gonna work harder. I'm gonna try and pull off at least 22 transfers, get more negative points, and hopefully, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be active in the transfer window.
Can I just say, I think they will make a move here on your life if you win this FPL by the end of the season. Honestly, it'll be the story of the season.
If he wins this FPL, I quit the channel.
It would be unreal. Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be unreal. So yeah, you're not donkey of the week, Shreyas. Unfortunately for yourself, I know you was hoping to be. You are climbing that table, so congrats to yourself. Donkey of the week for the first time in a couple of weeks. It isn't Fidel Niang. He is not the donkey of the week anymore. So congratulations. We have Klaus FC, 223 points in total, 40 points this week, which is more than Adam. But yeah, their bench not grabbing any points at all for them. So maybe that's something you can look at. Unfortunately, Klaus, you are donkey of the week for this week. So yeah, that is the FPL roundup.
Where is Chicken Tikka Mo Salah? We always have to like to check on him. Where is he?
Let's have a look because I'll do a quick few shout outs.
Do you know when you have like a favourite team in another league? Like he's my favourite team, Chicken Tikka Mo Salah.
Yeah. I think it's like around 80th or something. So I'll do a few quick shout outs for 75th. Any great.
He's 75th.
Yeah.
Chicken Tikka Mo Salah.
We've got Good Kid Man City, obviously a reference to Kendrick Lamar album.
Yeah.
I like the creativity. In at 18th. Who else? Uwe All Pays up to 26. Guns N' Moses 27th.
I've got one. I found one. Gianluigi Buffet. That's pretty good. He's in 65th.
I do like that.
I like that one. That's a good name.
Oh, I just come across that one then.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah, Chicken Tikka Mo Salah's 75th. I don't know if you just mentioned that then.
Yeah.
We're starting to get into the hundreds now.
Dad Bods FC. I like that. In 79th. That's a nice name. What else have we got?
Dan. Yeah, it's 114th. Stick the Willie in. Always an absolute classic. You have to put that up there.
Favourite.
Big Bold Manager in at 121, 121st.
Paris Saint.
He stayed. Where is that?
Paris Saint Your Mum in 115th. I like that name. That's a good name.
Do we have any more? Shout out Ugly Bear. Ugly Bear's 145th, regular of the channel. Got to give you a shout out. And yeah, that's 165 people competing in the league. Member, by the end of the season, if you are first, you do win a retro jersey. So keep competing, keep smashing it. Thank you to everyone who's been getting involved and interacting. Really appreciate you. Just the last question before we conclude the show, lads, because we were talking about the bottom of the league there. Who do you see getting relegated this season, do you think, judging from what you've seen so far?
Wolves.
Oh,
It's an interesting call.
that's a bold statement, I think. Who
Uh,
else? Give me 3 teams.
Forest. Forest. Definitely going down. I can see them
Yeah,
going
Forest.
down. Unless they pull off a miracle. Bournemouth.
I need
Although
a miracle.
Bournemouth
Sorry.
have looked pretty good actually the last couple of games. So
Yeah,
they might
They're on a run at the
actually do
minute. A
something.
bit of a tear up.
But I still think they'll go down. Who else?
Do you want me to tell you who's currently bottom right now?
Is it Forest?
So,
Forest.
bottom of the league, we have Forest, Wolves, and Leeds. Leeds is another one who could potentially. They started off really bright, and then they've started to go down a slippery slope now.
I'll go Forest, Bournemouth, Leeds. That'll be my pick.
Forest, Bournemouth, Leeds. Shreyas?
Forest, Wolves, and Leeds, the current bottom 3.
Okay, I'll go with Forest, Southampton, and Leeds. I think we're going to get relegated. Let's see what happens. That concludes the show, fellas. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. If you're tuning in now, if you're tuning in later, keep competing in the FPL. Remember that the winner of that league will win a retro jersey, as I've just touched on then, so keep smashing it. Follow us on socials. All the handles are at the bottom of the graphic, or you can head to the description in the video link. And yeah, cheers to the lads for coming on. Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries.
Shreyas, always a pleasure as well, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. We will see you for the West Ham preview tomorrow, guys, around 6:30. And there's going to be a live watch-along for the West Ham game on Sunday as well. So, yeah, make sure you tune in for that, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
Peace.